Hey guys, so welcome everyone. This is going to be the Axiom Verge Warpless Any Percent run. For those of you who know about the Axiom Verge Any Percent category and wonder what is Warpless, well, basically it's pretty self-explanatory, but it involves not using the save points as warps, essentially. So when you start the game, you have the initial save point, and let's say you get to the point where you get an X, Y item, and then you can exit the game, go back to the speedrun menu, and then when you go back, it reverts to the original save point, but you do not lose progress, which means you keep all your items, everything that you've done in the game stays, the bosses are dead, so you can use that as basically fast travel type of deal. So in Warpless, though, that's a big no-no. And also, this run, one of the rules that we needed to implement to make this run both legit and accessible is you cannot die. It needs to be deathless. Otherwise, people would say, oh, you know what, I'm just going to die and do a death warp, because that would do the same thing as the save warp. So what we did is we established that in this category, dying during a boss fight is actually fine, because there's no way you can actually exploit that to make your run faster. So anywhere else, it's a reset. In this case, if it happens, it won't be, because it's a showcase. But I mean, if you were gunning for world record or anything else, that's how it would work out. So I'm ready to go on your count. Gotta go in settings and disable them. Well, yeah. Alright, so they just disable the Steam overlay. We should be good.
Is the audience ready? Give me some hype! Hype!
Alright.
On the count of 3, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go!
Alright, so here goes. So this is simply the room where we get the first gun, the Axiom Disruptor. Now, by the way, I want to give a big shout out to Dan Edelman, who's in the chat right now. He's I like to call him the marketing guy, but he's got an official job title. I just don't remember what it is. But for Axiom Verge. And also, funny enough, for Mages of Mistralia, a game made by the Montreal-based studio Borealis Games. So, small world indeed. So in this game, of course, we need to talk about the man behind this game. Well, kind of behind this whole marathon, really. Thomas Happ, who's the sole creator of this game. He made everything from art to game design, level design, and everything in between, music. Well, by the way, the soundtrack for this game is absolutely incredible. So he did all of this under 5 years. And it's the best Metroid game to come out in the past 15 years, and it's not made by Nintendo, so there you go. But they should get on that. But really, it's the reason why we're doing this marathon and we're actually trying to raise awareness for the Kernicterus syndrome is his son, Alistair, who was born, I think, if I'm not mistaken, shortly after the game's release, or shortly before, but he was diagnosed with Kernicterus syndrome, which is a form of cerebral palsy, which means he'll never be able to probably walk, or his motor skills were greatly affected by the disease. So, since Tom has given so much to the Metroidvania community by creating this amazing game, and I would argue kind of bringing the genre back to life somehow and kicking off a bunch of indie Metroidvania titles, to me it was a no-brainer to try and help him out and give back to him, because I mean we're in Canada, we have healthcare and everything. I mean I know the US has Obamacare and all that, but I mean we have it good here in terms of medical expenses and such. So for people in the States, it's a lot harder, a lot more expensive, and it can literally lead you to bankruptcy. So we want to try and raise awareness for this, as it sucks. I mean, I'm the father of a 5-year-old severely autistic son, so his story kind of it pulled on my heartstrings real hard, and I just wanted to do something to, you know, give back to someone who's given so much to our community. So big shout out to Tom and his whole family and his son Alistair, who's a real trooper, and this is for you guys. So this is the first boss, named Zeter. Big shout out to the Sub 7 Zeter crew, by the way. So essentially, you'll see in terms of art design, sound design, everything, there's a lot of, especially in the art department, there's a lot of H.R. Geiger influence. I believe he is Swedish, the Swedish artist behind the design for the Xenomorph, or, you know, more commonly known as the Alien series. So you'll see a lot of, you know, a lot of the designs that will remind you of that. And also, fun tidbit, Tom was telling me how at some point he would wake up in the middle of the night when he had nightmares and draw boss designs based on his nightmares. So there's it's a very introspective game in that sense. And I believe I asked his wife Chloe at some point, like, so how do you sleep next to this guy? Like, he wakes up and draws that kind of thing in his sleep. Like, what? Anyway, so it's you'll see the game as a whole. It's kind of it's got a bit of a nightmarish design, but at the same time, there's a lot of beauty in it. So there's a lot of contrast going on there. So what we want to do is essentially go through the first 3 bosses, and then that's where the run is going to change a little bit. For those who know about the any % run, we're going to actually go fight the big scorpion-like boss named Gertab, and in order to grab the grappling hook, which is entirely skipped in the any % category. So by the way, Shokushu, if you have any questions in chat, like, let me know through the talkback, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. So the first half of the run is more, I would say, precise platforming. And then once we get the drone and the teleportability, that's when things start to get a little bit freaky. We teleport all over the place, and movement gets really interesting in this game. So these guys, they seem, the first time you're playing the game, you freak out, they lunge at you, and they're screaming, and they're super fast. And, you know, kind of just ignoring them and walking underneath them is the actual proper strat to deal with them. So
It's a bit like face your fears with fears.
Yep. Alright, so we are at Telal, the second boss in the game. The strategy here is really involved and complicated. You'll see. So a really complicated boss to deal with here. Like, I actually need to walk 3 tiles back every once in a while. Keep spamming the same button. It's really tiresome. I might pull a muscle, actually. Now this room, you'll see I'll corrupt some bubbles and use them as platforms to go into the next room. The timing's pretty tight here, so I'm going to try and get it on the first cycle. So that's the address disruptor, corrupts enemies, and some tiles, where in this case, like, we've got some invisible tiles that appear out of nowhere. There we go. Oh, stop breaking everything. What are you doing? Olivia, t'as encore pété un verre? By the way, huge thank you to Meltdown Esports Bar here in Montreal for letting us hold this event. They've been really helpful helping us get this off the ground. So, can I get a huge round of applause for Meltdown, please, guys? They're amazing. Alright, so the next power... By the way, in this game, the speedrun mode which I'm using is the reason why we have splits on stream. It's actually part of the game, and it removes all the dialogue, all the tooltip help boxes, all the text. It seeds the RNG, so there's next to no RNG in this game, and that was all Tom's doing. Like before the release of the game, he actually had this mode in mind, which was actually created, I believe, late in the development cycle. But yeah, I mean, he's been thinking of the speedrunning community ever since he started doing this game. So. So this is one of the harder rooms to optimize in the game because you need to kind of kill everything, but at the same time not slow down. So hitting the enemies even once allows me to go underneath them and they don't hit me on their way back. So I'm going to go with the safe strategy, just try to do as much damage as I can on the first go. So these guys are called tube worms for obvious reasons, and one of the only RNG-based things in the speedrun mode is that the pattern for their projectiles, let's call them that, they're completely random. So there we go, double damage boost. Ah, come on, what? Keep some health over here. Alright. So like I said, you can really get blindsided with some of the projectiles launched by these guys. And here, with the address disruptor, like I said, you can corrupt the properties of certain enemies. So these guys, instead of damaging you when they're corrupted, they actually destroy some special tiles in this part of the level. The estimate for my run, well, basically, so I pulled off the world record run for this last week, and it was at 52:59. The estimate is an hour for the marathon. So. And the worst part is, in this game, the first half, especially in 90%, since you can't save anywhere, there's no safety saves you can use, otherwise it messes up your whole routing since you use the save points as warp zones. It's the amount of... You cannot take too much damage, and the health management is really important in this category. In any percent, I mean. But in this one, since you can use the save points, they actually replenish your health. So if you're kind of in a bind and you want to just, you know, replenish your health, you can actually use a save station to do that, and it doesn't affect your run at all. So it's a bit more marathon friendly than any percent, that's for sure. So this room. Okay. I call this room the lawnmower room for obvious reasons. And a lot of the health drops are actually seeded, so if you're under a certain amount of health, there are enemies that are actually set to give you health every single time. Yeah, we have more than enough health for the next boss. So, next boss is Uruku. It's quite ugly. I'm not gonna lie, it's not a looker. Yep, would kind of turn around on the first date on that one. So we try to stay out of the acid. Now, these tiles they're supposed to be used on the way back in order to not take damage from the acid. But if used during the boss fight, then it gives you a pretty good spot to hit the boss without taking any damage whatsoever. So that's basically the strat for this boss. And that was actually one cycle short of what I usually do. That's pretty good. So after defeating this boss, the upgrade we're going to get is the lab coat. Now, the lab coat essentially allows you to go through one tile in terms of walls. I'll show you shortly. So you have to double tap in the direction that you want to phase through. You hold it, and at some point, you glitch through the wall. Glitching is an important theme in this game. It's actually a whole part of the game, considering how you glitch the enemies with the address disruptor. There's a lot of programming terms used in the game, like an axiom is, as you might know, something that is known to be true. Hence the name of the game. And one great thing about speedrun mode is it doesn't spoil the story at all. Like, you have no idea what's going on because you cut all the cutscenes, all the text, all the dialogues, so it's actually pretty good. And I highly recommend this game. Dan, I know you're in chat. Can you tell me if it's still 50% off? Because if it is, you guys should, even if it's full price, but I mean, at 50% off, you have no excuse not to get this game, because it's amazing. It took me around 7 hours on the first playthrough and 10 hours 100%. So I spent $80 on AAAs that gave me like just as much time at gameplay. And I mean, if you start speedrunning this game, then, you know, rip your life. There we go. So far it's the save for going to the first boss, not using a save warp after getting the Nova gun, which is the gun that I used only twice in this run, and I'm never going to use again. The route is almost identical so far. It all changes when I need to get the grapple. There we go. By the way, those little things that I get are damage upgrades, and the round ones are health upgrades. And if you hug that ledge over there, as that grappler comes down, it just clips through you. You don't take any damage. This is my favorite song in the whole game, by the way. Alright. This is actually a pretty good pace so far. And I just jinxed it. So this is the drone upgrade. The drone is this game's answer to the morph ball in order to get through tight spaces, but it's also, it changes a lot of, how should I say, a lot of dynamics in the game are quite different because you're using the drone. Further down the game, I actually get a drone launch upgrade, which allows me to throw the drone farther, and also then I get the drone teleport, which allows me to teleport Trace, the game's protagonist, to the drone's location at any given time. And also, there's supposed to be a cooldown on the drone launch, so you don't get to spam it and just fly all over the place. There's a glitch for that, so we reset the cooldown. I'll show you how. There we go. Now, right now, I can only cancel out the drone, which goes back to Trace, and do note that the drone has a different health bar than Trace's, and it regenerates over time. So we can use the drone also to absorb a lot of the damage that you want to avoid Trace getting instead of the drone. And now this is the upgrade for the Address Disruptor. It allows you to corrupt enemies that you couldn't corrupt before, as well as the tiles. So there you have it. Oh, come on. No chill whatsoever. So I'm going back up because now I'm going to go for the grapple beam, which means I'm also going to go against Gertab, the Scorpion-like boss. If there was one point at the run where I'm going to use a safety save in the marathon, it's that guy. We still haven't perfected the setup for that boss since it's been overlooked in this category. Although it isn't 100%, but... So when that guy sees you, he just turns around and starts, you know, doing its thing. So you can either get him with the Disruptor, then take him out from a safe distance, which is actually what I'm going to do here. And you could use the drone, but because otherwise it's actually invincible. You won't get any damage from your regular weapons. Farm some health here. Alright, so this is the room leading up to the next boss, Gertab, the Scorpion one I was telling you about. The boss fight consists of just manipulating him into a position where he's going to attack for no reason into a given angle, and that way you can actually damage him. It's a fun fight, though. Alright, so here goes. Not the best pattern for this. There we go. Yeah. And that's why we save in that room. Like, you need to dive into him at a very precise angle, so it's not supposed to run right. It's supposed to turn around, and then at some point you just keep... It's a damage race, essentially, because if you don't get him within 2 cycles, then you don't have enough health to go through a third one. Because every single time you need to clip through him. But we'll get through. There we have it. Alright, so let's try and jump. He's like 1 shot short. Yeah. There we have it. Alright, so I hate that guy. Alright, so here goes. Now, this is the part where we go... Oh, yeah, usually there's a huge cutscene right here. Now, we're going to the grappling hook, which we're actually going to need to go back to the beginning area in order to get into what I call the LSD trip area. You'll get it when you see it. Something about a pathogen, Trace being infected, and he's going nuts. So when you get to that area, you have fairly more health than what we have here, so you kind of have to make sure you don't get too much damage. Otherwise, you know, technically that would actually invalidate the run. So I'm going to try and avoid that. There we have it. If I'd have to say, this would be, in my opinion, one of the most dangerous rooms in this category. Now here, usually you're supposed to use the drone to get the next switch, which we're not going to do, because of course there's a way. Alright, there we go. So the Kilver actually has, like, just barely enough range to get that switch from there, without having to use the drone. There we have it. So here, we're actually going to jump there, and we're going to use the drone to get the item. Otherwise, we would have to come all the way back up, which is time-consuming. And at this point, we're going back to where we came from. So since we killed most of the enemies in that room on our way up, our way back is much easier. So you activate these drones for something during the storyline, but I'm going to keep it spoiler-free for you guys today. I'm going to go the other way this way. And the drones, they're quite helpful. Like, they actually get rid of a lot of the enemies for you. See, drones, fun. Oh, there we have it. All right, now we're gonna meet one of the, well, it's not an enemy at all, but one of the unspoken characters of the game. The big snail head type thing, which is the stuff of nightmares, like literally. So this area connects all the areas in the game. So on a normal playthrough, you go there many times. You go through that area many times because everything's connected through there. So, and now we're gonna go all the way down. This is what I would call the beer break, usually. It's a good time to go get some beer. And sometimes you get stuck on the head for some reason. But and we're back. This is the first area of the game that we're going back to. Only for a short moment, though. Because you need the address disruptor level 2 in order to get through some gates that will allow you to go to the next area. Quite a moody atmosphere in this area. So they're like, hey, there's another me in there. What is going on? Now, this save point actually gets triggered automatically by the game because of what's coming next. Actually, Tom explained why he triggered that save point automatically. And you see how the screen's starting to be, waving a little bit? Yeah. It'll get better or worse depending on your perspective. Also, one of my favorite Easter eggs in the game. What's up, Masigno? What you doing here? And apparently, and Dan and Tom would never tell me, and apparently no one's figured that one out, something changes in the game. So, when you trigger the Masigno, when you glitch those guys and they turn to Masigno, apparently something gets changed in the game, but I have no idea why. Maybe they'll tell me one day. Every room you go through, the waving effect actually becomes stronger. So he triggered that save point automatically so that if you would get all the way to the, let's say the last room where the effect is at its strongest, and you died, if you didn't save in that area, then you would have to redo the whole thing with that effect on, which is kind of just nausea-inducing, really. So this is Vision. So I'm just gonna, take a break, enjoy this. All right, there we go. And I still died, see? That's... Yeah, I know. And then you respawn there. And that's a bad hair day if I've ever seen one. So... Another health
Wait,
upgrade.
is this still warpless?
Yeah, it's still warpless because that's part of the game. You smart ass. I didn't warp there, they took me there. Alright? Like I said, Trace was hallucinating. This is the boss creature he was seeing. During that boss fight, you're actually controlling the boss. You're not controlling Trace anymore. So getting Trace to kill the boss faster is the way to go in that case. And actually, if that would have hit me in that room, the damage still applies. And as you can see, they kind of, you know, hit you like an 18-wheeler, so. Now we're going for the next upgrade, which is the trench coat. It's in this room. What the trench coat does is instead of just being able to phase through single-tiled walls, you can now use a dash teleport ability for 2 tiles wide. So in Warpless, there's more backtracking involved, of course, since you cannot use the save points as in order to warp through whole areas. All right. And now we're going against the next area, which is the area I infamously dread in a marathon. Those who know me know why. But I made sure VSync was off before I started this, so we're good to go. VSync gate, never forget. Now, there are enemies buried underground, and if you don't do what I just did, then they get triggered. And I mean triggered, like, you know, they start lunging at you, they go crazy. There you go. So for this particular green glitch thing, you would actually need a, how should I say it? You would need the address bomb, which is kind of like the power bomb in this game, but it destroys those green glitched areas. But in this one, we can actually, since we got the trench coat upgrade, we can actually phase through, which is considered to be a two-tile wall, by getting damaged, and then during your invincibility frames, you can actually dash through it. These guys latch onto you and they start draining your health. And if you let them, you know, stuck onto you long enough, they actually explode and multiply. So that's a lot of fun. Now we're going to go for the first try quick kill, because the next boss is I consider it to be the most difficult one in the game. And since we're not equipped to beat the boss the vanilla way, let's call it that. I mean, there is a way, but it's really, really, really hard. Your chances of beating that boss with as low equipment as what you got right now are slim, to say the least. So we're going to try and get the quick kill first try. So I manipulate him into a very specific spot by stopping on specific tiles, dodging its attacks, and then it's going to shoot out little wasps, which I'm going to corrupt using the address disruptor. Now when they're corrupted, these guys turn into, like, you know, they're glitched out. They're going to turn into little bombs, which, and that's it for the quick kill, by the way. So they turn into bombs, and the boss's damage area is its mouth. So if you get 2 explosions into its mouth, that sounded wrong, then it dies instantly. Also, this is where I get the drone teleportability. And it's at this point where I can get to one of my favorite parts of the game, also considered to be one of the most unforgiving areas in the whole game. And these guys, they are... Yeah, I hate them. They're annoying. And sometimes there's one of the rooms where they can actually get glitched out, and they start jumping infinitely, and the sound effects just goes like nuts, like a machine gun. It's one of the most irritating things to hear ever. So from here on out, save for the backtracking, this is pretty much the standard fare in terms of routing at this point. So this is where movement starts to get real interesting, because I'm going to teleport. And by the way, you see me using the address disruptor between every drone launch, and the reason is fairly simple. This is what resets the cooldown on the drone launcher. So that way I can actually chain my drone teleports. And in this case, I don't have the drone launcher yet, but we're going to get that soon. So this is what's going to allow me to fly great distances using the drone teleportability. And no Shoku, canceling out the drone to go into another room does not count as a warp. Before you ask. There we have it. Now this is Maru, where these guys, if you're going to get hit by them, you want to take a body hit and not one of their beam hits, because they hurt a lot, and I mean a lot. Those are the most dangerous enemies in the game, in my opinion. I know a lot of runners would agree with me. They've ended a lot of runs. Like I said, that's one beam hit I took. It took like a huge chunk of my health. And here comes, when you start speedrunning this game, or even just a regular playthrough, but the next room is considered to be the hardest. I'm actually going to go for a little bit of health here. So here, the only thing you're getting is the key that'll unlock the next area in the Temple of Maru. So you can get this on the first try, but when you don't, you just slam dunk and you're good to go. So now, like I said, when the drone is active, you'll see there's a force field around Trace, so he's not taking any damage. But since there's one of them that's still, you know, latched onto him and just trying to, you know, take him apart, as soon as I get back to Trace, I need to dash out, just in case there was a beam on its way. And now we're going all the way back. There we go. Farm some health here. At least these guys are generous with health, so that helps a bit. All right. Now we're going for the red coat, which is this game's answer to the screw attack, really. So it gives me a 3 tile-wide dash teleportability, and it also deals damage. So and on the way to the red coat is what we call the green room, which is a gauntlet of enemies that pretty much like the little sparkly things that latch onto you. They do the same thing, only they don't multiply, but they are quite annoying because their drain rate is pretty big. So, and even if you teleport with your drone, they stick to you. Like, there's next to no way of getting rid of them without killing them. So, going through a door though, that does it. They don't follow you through rooms. So here we got to drill through all those blocks, but since we can dash through 2 blocks wide, we're not going to drill all the way through. As soon as we clear these, through we go. And here's the red coat. This is the final piece of equipment we need in order to access the final area of the game. Now, you want to go through on the way up, because below there's the a health node fragment, and you need, I believe, 6 of those in order to get a full health upgrade. There we go. So here. Here. Alright, come on. So here with the grappling beam, if you go at a 45-degree angle at a precise frame, you can actually go through those tiles, which is technically more than 3 tiles wide, but there we go. And once you have the red coat, the little green guys, they're nothing to worry about. You can just keep, you know. And when I say that, you know, you can still worry about them. I mean, it's not a bad thing to do so. There we go. And now we're on our way to the final area of the game. red code is also the fastest way to move around anywhere in the game world on a y-axis. X, sorry. Because the drone teleport with the advanced drone teleport mod is quite faster, but only if you're moving midair. On a flat surface, it's always the red code. That's the way to go. Yep, wrong stop. So then we go back to the hallucination area. That's the area where the final area is connected to. Now this is where the infinite drone teleport comes in quite handy. So we're going to do this to get to the final area much faster than going all the way around. There we go. Right, so here it is. This is Axiom Verge Turian, everyone. And this boss is Sentinel. Now, this is the only boss in the game where you can actually go in and out of the room. That's a good backup strategy if you're strapped for health. But we have 2 safety health pickups in this run. And the fastest way to beat it is you make sure you attack it on its way down when it comes back from its ceiling phase. That way it can barely attack you. Goes back in real fast. And those are completely random, by the way, the attack patterns. And that's Sentinel, so there we have it. And that's the last upgrade for the run. And we're on our way to the final boss at this point. But wait, there's more. So there's a purely optional boss. I thought I disabled the Steam overlays, but then I guess, you know. Steam don't care. All right, this go now.
Will you save or kill the animals?
I don't know. Are they tasty? I mean, if I can eat them, then I probably, you know. Yeah, no safety save before the last boss. Yeah. So this is the final boss. So the bad guy is in the tank over there, but I'm attacking his life support systems because apparently that's how you deal with final bosses. In the first version of this game, so there's actually not a glitch, but a really easy and cheap way to kill him. You can just crouch on one of the sides of the room and just use your diagonal aiming to aim straight for the boss and never get hit by any of the drones there. And important to note, the drones on every wave, when they respawn, they get an upgraded attack. So I'm killing these guys because also killing them resets the health drops. Because 2 out of 3 of these guys actually are going to drop health for me, so that's quite helpful. There we go. So that's I mean, it's never the same one, but there's always 2 out of 3 that drop health. And this was the final phase. So I just got to survive this. Once, I mean, the boss is technically defeated, but once I was killed by one of the drones before the final death animation, and I was actually on a PB pace. So I lost the run at the last possible second. That was quite infuriating, but there you have it. Major laser beams, bad guy goes boom, fade to black, and time. So 5605, not too bad. Considering I died like, what, 4 times? Death count. Oh, 3. All right. So this is Axiom Verge 80% warpless, everyone. Like I said, this category involves not using any warps. There's a bit more backtracking involved. You see a bit more of the game through your run. So big shout outs to the Axiom Verge guys on Discord. I don't know if any of you were in chat, but hope you enjoyed the show. Hope I did you honor. Thank you to Dan Edelman, who's in chat right now, being a real trooper, helping us out, spread the word about this event, which we're doing for, once again, Thomas Happ and his son Alistair. Big shout outs to Chloe, Axiom Mom. I mean, you're great. You guys are an inspiration, really. Like I said, I'm a father to a special needs child as well, and you kind of just, you know, if you guys can make it, so can I. So thank you for being there. Thank you, Tom, for this amazing game, which I'm probably never going to get enough of. And that's pretty much it. What else? Thanks. I want to say thanks to the Quebec speedrun community. You guys are amazing. I mean, a lot of you have become NoReset staff, like main admins, and it's like you guys were just there. Like some stuff needed help with past events, and I mean, you guys just kind of, you know, became part of the team organically, naturally. And I want to give a big shout out to Shoku, to G, TM, Deln. Even you, Darrow, like, you know, even you deserve a shout out. I don't like you, but you know, it's fine. But this guy plays Super Mario 64. Like we don't talk to that kind of people right now. But
120 hype.
Yeah, 120 hype.
I just wanted to say that we hit 2,000 viewers for the end of your run.
2,000? Did I
say 2,000?
Did you say 2,000?
Yeah, I said 2,000, but I meant 200.
Okay, I was like, what? What? Okay, 200 still. That's wow. Damn. Okay, well, thanks everyone who's been watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. I mean, thanks. Thank you so much, everyone. I mean, thank you to thanks to the Meltdown, the Meltbar, the Meltdown Esports Bar staff. Pierre, Rock, you guys are amazing. Jacob, the 3 owners, they've been more than helpful and willing to get this event off the ground. They're amazing people, and like I said, Tom, Alistair, Chloe, keep fighting the good fight. We're gonna be there to support you and root for you guys. And this is gonna be a yearly thing. I think we're gonna do one Metroidvaniathon every single year for years to come, and it's amazing. Hopefully down the line I'll get to run Axiom Verge 2. at one of the marathons. And since we hit 200 viewers, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys a little treat, which you might have seen during my controller check, because that's what I did. But this is the final boss fight on a 100% run. This is what it will look like. So we're gonna go back to the boss fight. Oh, by the way, you might have noticed Trace is wearing a leotard. If you use, there's a passcode tool in this game, which is, it's not considered cheating. There are some cheats, but I mean, the regular passcode tools are used in 100%. So where is it? Passcode tool. There we go. So that's the passcode tool. What it does is you can enter a bunch of cheats to reveal. Those cheats are actually to unlock for some areas in the game you actually need to go to for 100%. And of course, Justin Bailey, the infamous cheat code from the original Metroid. That's the first thing I tried when I saw the pattern, 6 character dash 6 characters. And it, you know, Trace just, you know, he wears a leotard. That's amazing. And basically, without further ado, we can get to the boss fight because I'm overstepping my time here. But so pretty much like the one I used in Green Room, same thing. And the boss can't hit me, and 100% you get the flamethrower, which is quite OP. So like I could literally just do this with one hand, you know. Like it's you lock your position in between waves, and there you have it. And that's it. And then I just stay like this for like 45 seconds or so, and I'm probably going to kill the boss. If I go by the sound of it, it's pretty much dying at this point. But so this is actually the... I don't even think it's... Like, you could call it the safe strat. I don't know. But at 100%, if you have 100% of the items, the final boss is actually really, really easy to kill. And that's it. So I'm going to do like the birds and get the flock out. So bye, guys. That's Axiom Verge.